All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 30th episode of The Get Down. My name is Cream.
Gary W. here.
We have a very special guest this week, the one and only Mr. Jason Jani. What's up, Jason?
What's up? What's up? What's up? It's good to be here with you boys. I appreciate the invite to be part of episode 30. What's up?
Yeah, man, we're excited to have you. We were talking offline. We haven't really had much time together in person, and we've linked up here during COVID. So we've been excited for this conversation to dig a little deeper.
Yeah, man. I
think it's so interesting how, even with COVID, that we've been able to link up with people that we haven't been able to when we're all working like dogs, right? And it's just a testament to your work ethic, and then also to using social media and things like that to your strength, right? I don't know, just a random thought.
I think it all brings it together, and it really puts emphasis on how, although the industry or the world seems so small at times, how absolutely gigantic this universe is in each of our own little spaces that we occupy, right? Like it's just crazy, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to kick it with you guys. It's dope.
Definitely, man. So we know you as the head of SE Group. But I think the first thing we wanted to talk to you about was a little bit about your journey and kind of where you got into the DJ game and how you got to then starting SE.
Yeah, sure. I mean, to give you a abbreviated history lesson of my kind of highlights or career. I started DJing as I was kind of coming out of high school. I was fascinated by the ability of seeing just someone control a room using music. And I was fascinated by it. And like many people, it was an obsession. It was a hobby that turned into an obsession that turned into a way of living my life. But when I was younger, I didn't really have the means to make it like my full on thing. So it was kind of what I did because I enjoyed my time playing at bars or clubs or whatever, even doing mobile work. And it's how I got through college. And after I graduated from college and I started working in corporate America, I still did this. And, to kind of shrink down a very long tail, it was just, I think, the opportunities that started to present themselves to me as a result of being consistent over time just started to get bigger and bigger, which would open up more opportunities and more opportunities. And all of a sudden, because of social media platforms and my willingness to share pictures or 480 or 720 at best video on brand new platforms like YouTube going back 12 years, it allowed me to get the attention of a lot of different people because there wasn't a lot of people doing that. And as the story kind of would tell itself, there was things that happened or events that happened that really just took me a little bit further each and every time I did an event or I did a party or I did something. And all of a sudden my phone was ringing from people that I never could have envisioned calling or asking me to be part of an event with them, and people that I looked up to or that were inspirational to me in music or whatever. And I started to get these opportunities. And at that time, I kind of was focusing a lot on private event entertainment because I noticed that there was what I felt gap in the ability for people to be relevant and the true artistry of being a DJ and being able to know a lot and to move. A lot of people were stuck in playing 3 and 4 and 5 minute songs and letting things bleed out. And I just realized private parties were terrible for a lot of people. And there was a lot of good people that did it, but there was just a lot of people that were kind of on cruise control. And my whole mission, probably for the past 15 years of my life, has been, how do I inspire people planning events to expect more, to dream bigger, to never settle? And in doing that, there was things that happened and opportunities presented themselves. People started gravitating towards me. Eventually, I left a full-time job as an engineer working at AT&T. I was in a super comfortable kind of corporate path that I could have retired at and whatever one day. And I took a risk to help people celebrate life and to do parties and to just see what could happen because I never wanted to be 50 years old talking to my children saying, you know, kids, I was a real good DJ one day. I never wanted to be the best thing that never was. I wanted to be something, you know, and that was like 12 years ago that I took the leap of faith, or just about 10 years ago that I took the leap of faith and I left a very comfortable path for the uncomfort of chaos. And then we just focused in on doubling down on content, on delivering whatever we were selling, and then I started my company SCE that now does events literally all over the planet for people you see on television or people that grew up in the same town that I've grown up in and everyone in between.
You said so many things running through my mind when you're talking about what, you know, mobile DJing or event, private event DJing, and having it be, uh, you know, playing those 4 and 5 minute songs and not having it be like such a creative outlet, right?
Yep.
And when I started in mobile, probably, I mean, I started in mobile way back in the day, but like really doing weddings and like communions and things like, you know, bigger events. Um, like promo, the first thing that comes to mind is promo only, like the promo only, you know, and I feel like I was DJing on promo only all the time and I wasn't grabbing the stuff that like inspired me and I wasn't rocking the party the way that I could have because, you know, the owner of the company's like, well, play it safe. This is what it needs to be. And it sounds like you kind of were going through the same thing and then felt like you know, went and busted through the door and like said, oh, I'm going to mix it up a little bit.
Well, I'll be very candid with Yeri. Like, I remember doing mobile parties for this guy when I first started, and I learned his script, and I learned his shtick, and I learned like how he did his things and how he sold his business, and I fell into doing what I was trained to do. Like, and I remember my first paycheck working for him as a support DJ was like $72 or something. I remember I got that check, and I was like, yeah, like I can do this. And I like now, not to talk about dollars and cents, but like I look at all the little steps along the way. And, you know, I feel like I did what was kind of like I did what was available to me, right? Like I would wait for that promo only CD to come in the mail or that those 2 discs to come in the mail. And I would like look it out and I'd listen to all of the tracks and be like, all right, I'll play this one, maybe if they're cool, or I'll play this one as like whatever. And like you would know about those tracks because they were on radio. And that was like it. And like at the same time, I was playing in like kind of like the bar and club world. And I was like, you know, I would get records and I was part of different distribution services that would like mail me content that I was like, yo, this is dope. Like I can play this. And I was playing hip hop records. I was playing like, I primarily played like housey style stuff. That was like what was in really like back then. And I just remember like I was doing mobile stuff. I'm like, I can't do this. Like this is terrible. So I ended up quitting like being a mobile. I'm like, I can't do it. Like this is gonna drive me nuts. Like, and I just focused in on doing bar stuff. But then this one group of girls would always come out to see me, like kind of wherever I popped out. And we were playing in Hoboken, and this one girl came up and she was like, I want to hire you to do my company holiday party or a company party. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, that's cool. Like, if you want me to do like the Macarena or the electric side with your boss, like I'm probably not your guy. And she's like, no, no, no. I want you to do what you do here, but I want you to do it there. You just have to maybe wear like a jacket. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, I can do that. Like, where is it? She's like, Bryant Park. I'm like, oh, I love the city. Like, really dope over there. I'm like, Bryant Park. Like, what kind of party is it? She's like, oh, it's like it's for my company. I'm like, what company? She's like, Mercedes Benz. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay. I'm like, okay. And it ended up being like a sub party, like a small one off that was part of like a fashion week experience. And like this girl was just a decision maker that was someone that would come out all the time. And like I didn't even think of it like that. Like I didn't even connect the dots because like at that point in my life, like social media really wasn't a thing. Like I had a radio show on Sirius and I used to do like all these like progressive house and like electro house style like vibe sets, and like I would promote it on like MySpace, and like Facebook was just becoming a thing. Like it wasn't the way it is now, where like now the world is so wide open. You know what I mean? But I did the things that were like painful, and I like learned from them. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm not feeling this vibe, and it'll look better on me if I do more of, and I'll be happier if I do what I want to do. And honestly, like ever since I started my team, my company, um, I've done things that we've had to do for the business, but I've always tried to put the artistry of being like a DJ and being like a legit person that can produce an event and like really play music and really like embody like what it is that makes the DJ industry very special, like for some people. And I try to pour that into my events because I believe like you can get people to do anything if you play the right stuff at the right time and you know how to introduce it and you're authentic and you're not running like a shtick or a show where you're running a douchey DJ voice and you're not like pushing people to do like whatever. Like people go to events to have a great time. They go to bars to turn up. They go out to clubs to get loose. Like, but some people don't do that, you know, and for whatever reason. So, you know, I know I'm kind of taking it all over the place, but it's really about like, yeah, like focusing on like what you gravitate to, where you feel that there's a void, and then like using what you love and using that as the thing to kind of like inspire people to do awesome whatever that is. You know, that's kind of been my vibe for a little bit.
I think we're all happier when we're doing things that we like to do, right? So for me, for example, same thing. I've done some mobile stuff and I was working for other companies and I used to hate it because it would be clients that didn't know Cream and know what I do and how I play. And I hated it because I didn't want to go there and be a puppet for someone. And I knew in the nightlife scene, my sound, I knew exactly how to rock a room. People would come to see me. And once I started playing private events where people were hiring me to be me, they were so much more fun for me.
It's different, and that's kind of like the magic of my company. And not to talk about like what we do, but I look at SCE as being a private event, you know, a boutique influence private event company. But what that really means or how that operates to most people is like, I don't have like a training manual I run through with everyone. Like I bring people into my organization or underneath my umbrella because I want them for them. I want them to have their own brand using like the format and the structure of like what we're able to do in terms of production or whatever. And I want people to kind of like build their own essentially like subsidiary of the company that focuses in on like what their strengths are. Like, yeah, I have a guy that's really good on the microphone. He could do all that stuff. If I find someone that wants that, I have a solution for that. If someone wants to get down with like deep, sexy house, like dirty, like whatever, no problem. We can handle that. We have someone that like wants to flex on hip hop or Latin or this or that. We have someone for that. Like literally kind of like pick your poison. Like we try to have this like very diverse kind of like access to talent. And then we kind of like put that into the framework of what makes sense for companies or for couples or for people planning parties and really like help them bring their ideas to life. I mean, that's really like what it's all about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what you just said is just a sign of being a great leader. Like that's
Right.
not you are finding the right people to work with, people that you trust and you see have the work ethic and letting them kind of figure it out. Like you're giving them the keys and you're helping them along the way, but you're letting them grow into what they want to be. And I think that to me is a sign of a great leader. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, it's a lot of effort, you know, like I mean, I'm still a performer. I still play a ton. And like, you know, I've done events that I'm super proud of, like ones that like I will boast about to the end of time and not in like a cocky or confident way, just because like I'm proud, you know, like I worked for that and I did the work and I did the work over time. But at the same time, like I don't always want to be the one to get the things. Like I love pushing up people and, you know, like even connecting with you guys, like, you know, it was put on my radar. I started seeing content and the first thing I'm like, yo, you guys are killing it. Like, I think one thing that all DJs can benefit from is like keeping your eyes open and never like, no matter how successful you are, how good you are, how long you've been doing this, to always keep your eyes open because there's people doing things in the area of your industry that if you close your mind to this stuff, like you would be foolish, you know, like you have to look at people and don't be so like, you know, don't be so scared to like give someone a shout out if they're doing something good or show someone respect or love, because I feel like that's, you know, like so much of this world is relationship based, right? I mean, like the entertainment industry as a whole is so it's so big, but it's so small, you know? And I don't know. I feel like you gotta keep your eyes open and keep your ears open and all that at all times, you know?
We always say comfortability kills careers, right? Like, you get comfortable at a venue, or you get comfortable with, downloading music or your production or whatever it might be, it's over with, And in our fast-paced industry, like, it can be over with in like a month or two. Like, you really got to stay on your feet. And then to your point about, being positive, I mean, that's kind of, we talk about this all the time. This is what Get Down was built on. It was built on positivity and spreading love within the DJ community. So, yeah, all those things that you just said, hit it right on the head. Something that I want to go back to just mobile DJing for a second. When you started SCE, was like the mobile DJ industry full blown like production, TVs, like the whole thing, or was that something that was starting to really come about as you started the company? Because that's the one thing that, because I had a 9 to 5, I was a teacher, and it's the one thing I realized that I couldn't bring my clients like all of this production because it was just too much. So I kind of took a step back and was like, okay, well, I can really invest in bars and clubs and do my thing and still hold my 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
But like when I see any content that you put out, I'm like, wow, like this is an effing production. Like
Yeah.
it's huge, But I'm wondering if like, did you start there, or is that something that, you kind of grew into?
No, I mean, like when I started DJing, I remember like in the bars I played on 1200s and I brought 2 or 3 crates of records. Like I couldn't bring 200 tracks with me anywhere right now. You know what I mean? Like I don't even know where I'd start with that because I feel like the way my mind works now is so different. But when I first started DJing, it was like legit like a tabletop coffin and like 2 powered speakers plugged into an amp. And then things did evolve over time. And before I started SCE, I partnered with some guys out of Jersey and New York, North Jersey, New York. And I partnered with them because I was at a point in my life where I had a 9 to 5 job. I was generating way more opportunity than I could personally handle. And I just didn't want to like let people down. And I started what then was Sound Connection. That was Sound Connection Entertainment is the root for SCE. And I changed the terminology in 2011, thanks to Virgil Abloh. But with Sound Connection, when I first went out to do it, I started picking up guys that were like, yo, I can help you. I'm a mobile DJ. And I was just naive. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, let me put you on and let me get you this. And like, I would build a little bit of a calendar for someone. And then I was getting burnt. So I ended up going to a company that I had respect for some of the guys. I had a diverse crew. I'm like, you know what? Like I can move my business into this group. I can take care of the people that I can't handle, but I also have now additional resources. Like in the event that something happens, it's like I have a backup plan now, like kind of embedded. And I did that for a long time until like the business, the kind of like the issues that plague so many entertainment companies in terms of like finances and business came into play. And then I realized like it probably at that point I was DJing in the nightlife world. I had a radio show. I was doing remixes everywhere. And then, I was a mobile DJ that was kind of getting pulled in a million different directions. And I'm like, it doesn't make sense for me to put my brand in front of other people or along with other people that were like shading me out of different opportunities. And I was like, you know what, it's probably not right. And after a little bit of going back and forth, I ended up pulling out because I kind of felt like I was burnt. And I wasn't jaded. I was more like, let me just be smart about like my own personal brand. And that's when I had gone off and started SCE with no plan to have a company. I wanted no responsibility in terms of other people, but as like opportunities of people that did share the same mindset with me started to present themselves. Like Tony T was like someone that he was one of the first like kind of like well-respected guys that I knew that came to me. And I used to use Tony for all my radio drops and all my shows. So like I already worked with him and I trusted him. And I like he was a serious dude and he was older than me and he had his stuff together. And I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna try it with you. And it worked. And then it was like from him, it was like then we pulled up one more. And then like I slowly like every once in a while I would like just cherry pick someone that came into my space, and I was getting hit up all the time. And it was like, all right, well, how do I know you? What's the connection? Who's the cosign? Like, let me see you play. Can I see this? Let me put a mix together. Let me just pop in on something you're doing. And I like started doing all this crazy stuff. And then like, it was like, all right, now I had a crew. There's 4, there's 5 of us. And I'm like, all right, we're cool now. And it was like manageable because they were the right people. And that's when like the business side of things started to click, because you can't just fill the slots on the bus. You got to fill the slots on the bus with the right people. That's the chemistry, to like what you said earlier, to me, is far more important than a lot of other things that some people look for in the entertainment space. Like, you need to share the same mindset, the same philosophy, the same like kind of like foundation, right? Because like if someone's a scumbag in normal life, like, and they're not a scumbag in business, eventually they will be a scumbag in business, because it's just the way it goes. Like, you can't be one thing and not the other. So you gotta, and I've tried to always operate my business, since I've gone through things that I think were not fair or didn't really like agree with like my core. And I've always operated my business like with a transparent and very like open kind of like dialogue with every single person. Like, I don't hide where things are going. I don't hide opportunities. Like, I'm like, how can I put you in front of this person? That's your goal. How do I get you there? Like, what do I got to do to help boost you up? Like, oh, you want to get your edit on this site? Oh, let me see if I can connect it through this person. Or like I literally just try to help people. And I think that's like something that I'm proud of as a person, not even just like a DJ or a business owner, and it's something you can't really teach.
No, that goes back to being a really good leader, as Cream said before. That's first and foremost. And then, selfishness gets you nowhere, especially in this business. And we felt like for a long time there was a lot of selfishness in the industry. And as soon as you start growing your network with really good people, only great things can happen for you. If Cream does something great, it only does great things for Get Down, and only does great things for Gary W. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
and it's kind of a ripple effect from there. So
Yeah,
people that stay closed minded about that stuff, well, they're not advancing as quickly.
It's so funny that you say that, because like if I look back at the things that allowed me like that catalyst moment to go to the next level, it was like when I took a risk, when someone was like, that's a really bad idea, or why would you want to do that? Why would you want to leave a full-time job making, whatever it was, which was so ridiculous at the time for my age? Why would you want to leave this? Why would you put your videos on YouTube so like everyone could see your secrets? And I'm like, what secrets? Like, I played a party. Like, next week the party's gonna be totally different, even if they want the same thing, because like I came from a different school of thought. Like, yeah, there are staples that lace your tracks, and there's things that you do, like no matter who you are, where you are, you get in those like zones. I'm feeling this track. I love this track. I love the way this builds up, blah, blah, blah. But like, I didn't do the same thing every time I went out. And like, people at first like threw so much shade at me. They were like, are you putting out like these videos? Like, you're going to show 15 minutes of someone's party online so like every other DJ can see exactly what you're doing? And I'm like, I don't fucking care what they see. Like, who cares? Like, yeah, I'm using lighting. Yeah, I'm using this. Like, yeah, I could show you videos from 12 years ago with 500 people on dance floor jumping up and down like crazy. But like, it doesn't matter. And the thing is, like, I never like fell off of that. And that kind of like, here I am older, like, and I still value that. And I value the impact and the reach and the opportunities that exist with like, networking and social media. And, I feel like, to your point of what you guys just said, is like people gravitate to one another. And whether it's not now, eventually like paths will cross. Like, that's the nature of life. If they're supposed to kind of like get into each other's space, like, you will, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like-minded people definitely find each other, especially in this business. And I think what you were talking about a little earlier with like helping other people. I mean, we say it all the time too, is just like the best way to help yourself is help other people get to where they want to go. And it's not about, I'm going to do this because it's going to get me something. It's, I'm going to do this because I'm a good dude. I think this person's a good DJ, and whatever they're trying to do, I want to help them do it. And that's the mind state Gary and I take with our DJs, is like, all right, well, what are your goals and how can I help you get to those goals? And in the process, we're going to DJ a lot of gigs. We'll probably take a lot of shots together at the clubs, and we're going to become friends. And it's like, that's the journey that we take And I love that you brought that up because I truly believe in that big time.
I look at like my work world, like my SCE, they're like my family. Like I will do anything for any one of those guys. They can call me at 4 o'clock in the morning, pick me up here. Yo, my car won't start. Like I will be the first one to go. If you can get me on the phone, I will be there. You know what I mean? Like that's the way this works. Where like I'm not motivated by what money they're putting in my pocket. And as a matter of fact, like for my business, I've reinvested all the profits all the time. That's what I've done from the beginning. And that's why we've been able to grow wide. Because like I never was like, yo, all right, I'm gonna stuff this, I'm gonna get this thing. And like, yeah, I have nice things, but I work for my nice things. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
and I constantly use whatever opportunity I have to hopefully push up the people around me to do whatever it is. And whether that's production or that's events or that's dollars and cents that they're looking to make, like I try to put people in a position where they can at least have the opportunity to get like a little bit closer than if they did it on their own. You know what I mean?
Another,
Hey,
so something that you brought up earlier, that you quit your cushy full-time job. I have to bring this up because I did the same thing. I was like 25 or 6 or 7, somewhere in that range. And I was DJing and I'm like, I'm going all in on this. And I did, and I worked really hard to grow my business and do the things that I wanted to do. But in the process of doing that, I've just earned such a respect for anyone that has gone through that, because it's so hard to describe until you actually go through it. And that's one of the things that I always say to people that ask me like, well, how can I get involved, or how can I get involved or part of Get Down? I'm like, well, be a good person, come hang out and be all in, like that's important to me.
Show
And
up. Yeah.
yeah. And like, I don't know. I think it takes a lot of courage to quit something that is a great situation to pursue something that you really want to do. And not a lot of people can say that they do what they really want to do.
Candidly, I took a very big risk, but it was a calculated risk. Like I had worked on it for 2 years, kind of like in that position to that one point where I managed a team of, at one point we had a total of 16 people on my engineers that worked for. I was a management figure in AT&T, and I supported executive level board members with like technology stuff. So like I have the creative gene, but I have like the genes of like very like granular OCD, like excellence, right? Like you have to like check every little box. Like it's like mind bending how I can like go from like one extreme to another, but it's a gift. And I think that I got to a point where I realized like I can't do everything. I'm essentially working 2.5 full-time jobs, trying to stay in shape. And at that time I was married and we were about to have my son. And I was doing like 10 hours of FM syndicated radio a week. I was like, literally, I couldn't put any more in my space. And I remember sitting in my office and I felt so lonely because I was happy, but I was like chasing all these different things. And I like realized I didn't work on like my relationships with the people that were around me. And I was like, you know what? I don't want to be that father that's never home. I don't want to be that person that never gives a call back to a friend. I never want to be anything. So I remember I called Andre, my ex, and I was like, yo, I can't do this. Someone's gonna find me one day in this office dead when they come to like clean the paper basket out at the end of the day, because like no one's gonna even know that I'm like something happened to me, because like that's how like kind of isolated I felt I was. And she's like, call your dad. I call my dad and he's like, what are you, crazy? Like you're gonna leave that for you wanna what? And I just thought like if I could do it for a year, like getting that bug out of me would at least give me the peace of mind to know like I took a shot. It didn't work, but I did it. And I remember I read the book Crush It by Gary Vee, and I was like, this dude literally just like put gasoline on everything that I was dreaming, right? And I'm like, I got to do this. And I remember I did it, and everyone was like, "You're crazy! This is nuts! People, you're in Central Jersey. No one would ever pay $1,300 for a wedding. What are you, crazy?" And I'm like, really? Like, okay. Like, and I'm like, contract in $1,800, contract in $2,500, contract in. I'm like, okay, maybe. And I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm literally gonna do this. And I know what it's like to literally like worry about how I'm gonna pay my bills. And yo, do I have enough peanut butter in this jar to last for the next 3 days? Because like I don't know how I'm gonna do it. But I also know what it's like to sit on top of the mountain and be like, yeah, like we just did good. Like I want to like bottles all around for everybody. Like I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, and I think you have to celebrate your wins. I think you have to appreciate the process every step of the way. And I think you always have to remember like the people that held your hand, that helped you out, or that came in and showed up when you needed them most, whether it was in the beginning, in the middle, or wherever you are at that point in time. You know what I mean? And if you can do that, like good things will always find their way to kind of stay in your karma space, you know?
Speaking to that, was there a moment when you said, okay, like you or SE has made it, like quote unquote made it, like, we're here and we're here to stay,
Um,
anything that sticks out in particular?
there's been a couple people that I've worked for personally or our company, and they're like those moments in time where you just literally put your head back and you just like literally take a deep breath and you're like okay, like this is cool. I mean I've done things with Kanye West and 50 plus places across the world from Paris to LA. My client base is I do parties for Martha Stewart or Jimmy Kimmel. When the Eagles went to the Super Bowl, like they had me come with the team to do the post game party with Diplo and Cardi B. So it was me, Cardi B, and Diplo, 5,000 plus people. The night the Eagles won the Super Bowl, like, and I have like pictures and video and a jersey and a ring and all these beautiful things to kind of like talk about the experiences along the way. And I think like every time I think I've made it, there's always something else that comes in my way that like shakes me to the core. And I'll tell you, like, there's every big event, I still get like super nervous. I remember we got on the plane. I brought Jeff Scott with me, Jeff Scott Gould, who's like one of like my key team members at SCE. And I always bring him with me to a lot of like these like epic travel style events. And whether I'm DJing in Las Vegas at Jewel or something for Wedding Wire or the Knot or playing for the 49ers or this one or that, it doesn't matter the entity. But I remember I sat on the plane that day and I was just like, I was so scared. And I'm like, Jeff, I'm not going to lie. This party is 4 days away from now. We're flying in to go to a party that Migos is playing at later tonight, like with Future and all these freaking maniacs. And I'm like, I'm terrified. I'm like literally shaking. And he's like, why? Dude? He literally straight face looked at me and goes, why? It's not like you didn't do the work to get here. Like you're prepared. And I literally put my head back and I'm like, I started thinking about it. I'm like, I'm prepared. I'm like, when did I take a day off? When's the last time I took a day off? When's the last time I like said no to an opportunity? And I started thinking about it and I'm like, it's been years since I've taken a day off. I've played every day for the past whatever. Last year I did 200 plus events. Like, yeah, like I've done parties for the team. I've done this. And I'm like, okay, like I feel a little bit better. I'm still nervous. I'm still shaking, but I'm like, my mind is right. You know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And I think that's just because you care, right? So like, I think there's been moments in time where I've been like, all right, cool. I was the onstage performance DJ for Mobile Beat Las Vegas for 5 years. And I DJ'd in front of, I don't know, 2,000 to 4,000 DJs each time the conference held. I brought friends in like Red Food to perform with me, Montel Jordan, Scoop, Vanilla Ice, like you name like just 1 degree away. Let me like reach out and see if I can get them to come in. And we provided some of these. I can get Salento to come through here for a minute because these guys like watch me whip. Like, let me get this dude in here for just a pop up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and he'll do it. And I've done that like for 5 years, and I helped save a conference that was like on the brink of like becoming a fossil. And every time I've done one of these events, whether it's a performance event or like a industry event or a VIP event or whatever, I, I don't know. I feel like it's like, wow, like it's coming together, but I still feel like there's room to grow. You know what I mean? And I think on one hand, you say like, yeah, I probably felt like I've made it a handful of times. You know, Christian, one of our guys, CL, he's been doing a lot of work, and through COVID, through the past 2 months, because we have done a lot of events for NBC, we started lining up. We got reached out to do entertainment for Saturday Night Live, so he's out there crushing the pre-party, the warm-up, the 2 hour warm-up before people go in for the recording. And
Nice.
it's like it's like such an honor for the brand to be trusted to do these kind of events, but like also to see like Christian, you know, posting these pictures of him like outside of Radio City Music Hall, like pointing up to the side, like what's up, what's up, what's up, you know, like I love it, you
Like a
know.
proud papa.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, this is so dope. I'm like, I'm so proud of you. And he's like, thanks, man. Like, you know, like it's just so it's cool, you know. But I would do that for anybody. Like, I don't know. I feel like I've had my own experiences of being proud. I've also like seen the company do like amazing things that I'm like, you know, like I don't have to be the one playing the music or
Yeah.
they're hosting
Well,
it. Like to see
you
the guys.
created a strong team that can kind of carry the name and represent for the team, and like that's what it's all about. That's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's good, man. I mean, I'm always looking to explore new opportunities with people. I think that's like a big thing too. I know I put a video up about that, but
Yeah.
you always got to keep your eyes open, because if there's an opportunity to, you know, like one conversation could lead to something that could
Yeah.
be like, yo, I know this dude. Let me get Creed and see if he can connect this dot. And like, yo, that little like alley oop just set you up with something that like could change the path for you. You know what I mean? And karma is real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then the next time that I have something where I know I could set you up, I'm probably going to do it because I'm going to remember the last time that you hooked me up. And like that's just how it goes. And I feel like that goes for any industry or anything you're trying to accomplish, and that's really really important. Um so I know we said we didn't really want to talk too much about COVID and this situation, but we just talked about like the highest of the highs, all the awesome things that you and your team have been doing, and then COVID hit, right? And I think for me, you really came across my radar more so through COVID and reading a lot of the things that you were writing about and being super authentic and just putting yourself out there and being really open. And I was like, man, I got to connect with this guy because I'm just loving everything that he's really talking about. And while I totally understand, like everyone got hit really hard and everyone was affected differently. What were some of the things that you pivoted to, and what were some of the things that really got you through dealing with COVID?
You know, COVID as a whole, the whole pandemic has shook the entire industry to the core, right? And if I look at any time of my life before COVID, and if I've looked at anything that was like a great struggle, I always have been able to keep my mind in the right place, to not shut down, but to look for opportunity. And I think like with the pandemic, yeah, I have like a business and we've lost millions of dollars of business. Like not no joke, like thousand over 1,000 events, private events, postponed or canceled. Like devastating situations for people, the most expensive and biggest events of their lives having to move. Like I was booked to play in Dubai. It was like a bucket list thing for me. I was like devastated. I'm like, I'm not going to fly there because I don't know. It was supposed to be really bad there, but they were open, but they're not. I'm like, what if I get stuck there? Like what happens? Like I had events booked all over Vegas and California and Texas and Michigan and Chicago, like literally all over the place. And the company, you know, really went through a lot. You know, I think the pivot for me was thinking about how I could use my time to make the company work more effectively and more efficiently. One, and that's been a focus for me from day one. Literally, I was like, all right, I have this big project on my list. We're going to be shut down for 2 weeks. I'm getting into this project right now. I'm not even like wasting my time. I'm literally diving into this today. And like when everyone's like, oh, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch Netflix and I'm going to go for a bike ride or I'm going to do whatever, like I'm like, nope, I'm going to work. I'm putting in like 12 hours today. Like, I don't even give a shit. Like, I'm going all in. And I did that. And then it was like, when that project was done, I was like, all right, now we're extended to 30 days. I got another one I'm going to do. And when I'm done with that one, I'm going to hit this one now too. So I used the time to kind of like take care of business that needed to be done. I think the pivot stuff for me, or the pivot stuff that the people that like saw it, was like, how could they use what their access was to essentially like do whatever it is that made them happy. I look at like Alex from DMS, one of my DMS family members. I put all my edits on DMS and Audio One I'm talking about. And,
Yep.
you know, he's a super good guy. I've had like heart
Yeah,
to heart with
nicest
this
dude
man
ever.
forever. Like, just a good dude. And like, he just popped up in his like closet, essentially ripping, you know, one turntable sessions, and like he built a huge community around it. And like, it just shows you the power of like doing the work and like investing into whatever it is. So like, in terms of like, what did I learn, or what was the pivot that I really, I tried to focus on being the best at whatever I could do at that point in time. So at first it was like, let me focus on the business. Let me take care of the business. Okay, my contract says if you postpone your date, it's going to be this, it's going to be this, it's going to be this. I'm like, let go of the contract. Let's focus on like being the best person. And I don't care if you move your date from a year from now, from 10 years from now. Like, I don't care if you want us to do a pool party, you cancel your this, you're doing something different. I will honor whatever it is we have to do. So we're like the person that always is going to have the right relationships because we did the right thing. And I think this whole pandemic has taught me a lot about people, about culture, about access, about hard work. But the biggest lesson, I think, is with every set of obstacles that someone is ever presented, and this is like a gigantic one, is that there's amazing opportunity. Like, if you have the ability to keep your mind on straight, you know. And really, that's like been my focus. How do I look at something from a positive as a part from a negative? Don't think about what just happened in terms of like negativity. Think about like how you can figure out the positive, or how you can be the solution, the resource to help or to push something forward, or to just be the go-to for someone in some way, you know.
So like you're saying, like you were utilizing the things that were at your disposal and things that you had access to. We see that you have you started a new YouTube channel, right? Because you have multiple YouTube channels, correct?
You're right. Yes.
So you started your new YouTube channel, and did that come straight out of COVID? Was that something that you had planned prior to, or now that you just had time to work on it, you were able to launch it?
Well, before COVID had happened, or actually right as COVID had happened, we were completing my first attempt at a masterclass, and I partnered with Phil and Steve and the team from Digital DJ Tips. So Digital DJ Holdings, they're based in Europe. You know, they came here. We shot a ton of content. I went there. We shot a ton of content. I mean, we had a legitimate masterclass for people that are looking to build a, an, a modern kind of like DJ company within the framework of like education. So it was like a class that had multiple layers to it. There was reading, there was training, there was coaching sessions, there was projects and to-dos. I mean, very deep, a lot of time. 6 total modules, like over 50 like individual kind of like target areas, with like a whole subset of like, you know, there was a web platform built for this. We had a number of students from all over the planet: New Zealand, Nova Scotia, Colombia, Belgium, Europe, South America, United States, everywhere. And it wasn't as successful as I maybe wanted it to be. So I learned a lot doing it because it was my first go at it. And when COVID really started to dig into like the world that I lived in, really like in the fourth quarter, I started to think about like, how can I use like my experiences to help other people. And I was like, let me start a learning channel. Let me like start working this stuff. And it's still an infant. I mean, like I've been on a tear recently recording video content because I have the ability to do it. I have like a studio with a recording ability in my house, right? I don't have to go to my office. I don't have to go anywhere. But I'm like, how can I use like my stories to hopefully help someone like avoid a pitfall, save money, save time, like just anything to just give you like that half a nudge forward that like never existed when I looked for help. You know, like at the time when I grew my business, no one was willing to help. No one would share anything with you. You had to like legit invest your money. You had to fail doing something. You had to make that mistake that like cost you energy and time and your mind and maybe relationships or whatever. And like now I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. And like, you know, will I do another masterclass style thing in the future? Maybe. I don't know. Like it'll be different in the future, but in the meantime, like I feel like not everyone can relate to the DJ industry as a whole, and not a lot of people can even understand what some DJs go through at different points of their life. And you don't have to be new to the game to go through this stuff. Like you can be someone that's been around for a while. And you know, if it would be a shame if I didn't share with someone, if I had the ability to help someone. And that was really like the thought of me ripping some of these video contents. And I'm working on teaching myself production and lighting and how to shoot this video and how to edit it differently and all this crazy stuff in the interim. So like I'm trying to sharpen my skills and share at the same time, you know. But
Same.
you know, it's definitely a project from COVID though, because I don't know if I would have had time. I mean, my other channel, we primarily share party footage and you know footage from like clubs or from this or from that, but like not like tutorial education based content, you know, like, and that's really like, and even if people don't agree with me, like for me, it's like I'm just literally trying to be painfully honest, and I'm trying to like literally put it out there based on like what I think is real. Like I'm not sugarcoating stuff. I'm not fluffing it. I'm literally trying to be like, all right, like you're the video I put out this morning at 8 o'clock. It was people complain that like people send emails or they message and they're complaining about how millennials contact them for events. I'm like, well, idiot, like reply to them the way they're asking you to like, what do you hide? Like, what are you hiding your information for? You know, just give them what they're asking for and then see what happens. Like, trust me, it'll work. Like if you're relevant, it'll work, you know, like.
I love the learning aspect because that was Gary and my pivot early on. We were in talks and discussions of creating some sort of a learning component of Get Down DJ Group. And we had started filming some stuff, and then COVID happened, and we said, all right, let's just go all in on this. Like, let's, like you said, shut it down. Let's shoot video every day. Let's write scripts. Let's figure out the production stuff, and let's just do it. And we did. And it was great. I mean, like we're still learning how to create and put stuff out into the world. But I think this goes back to what you were talking about earlier with like, you know, sharing crates and sharing sets and videos and pricing and all this stuff, because if one person can take something from it and learn from it and implement it into their business, it creates a better DJ community. And I think that's really important, because if we all are smarter and understand how to run our businesses better, we're going to make more money and we're going to be able to grow further and faster. And so all the stuff that you put out, I love it. I love the learning stuff. I've been trying to rip through as many of the videos as I could. But I love the video from this morning, the sales ninja one. Because I used to be a sales rep, so I loved all that stuff.
It's so like honestly, if you guys talk to me in real life, like if you were coming to me like, oh, I want to plan an event with you, whatever. Like I would never sell you on me. I would literally just listen to what you're telling me, and I would talk to you. Like what you're getting here is not like a canned thing. It's like this is who I am, and like I talk like this whether we're out in Hoboken at a bar ripping shots or it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon or it's 8:30 in the morning. Like I'm the guy who's like, the minute I get out of bed, I'm like shot out of a cannon, and I'm gonna go that way until I pass out at night. And like, I don't know. I've learned a long time ago. Every single person that was shady in business, every single person that held back in business, every single person that like kept it all to their chest, every single person I know that like never helped me when I needed help, they are either irrelevant right now or they are not in this business anymore. And I hate to say it, but like I believe that karma, like you do the right thing for people, it's not even with the intention of like getting something back from that person. I just think you get out of the world what you put into the world. And if I see someone struggling, yeah, I'm gonna go and help them out with their thing. And like, is that because I'm a gentleman? I just think because I'm nice, like do whatever, and like people can see stuff on social media and be like, oh, that Jani thinks he's a fucking dick. The guy thinks he's this. I'm like, you obviously don't know me because like I'm
Yeah.
not that guy. You know what I mean? Like
People are gonna hate on you no matter what, right?
no
Like
matter what, it's
when
part
you're
of the
putting
game.
yourself, especially when you're putting yourself out there like this in video form, like it's definitely interesting. And like I'm putting myself out there, you're putting yourself out there, Gary is too, and like with the good the bad's gonna come too. It just is what
Yeah,
it is.
I love the stuff I see from you guys. Like I literally, I've seen a couple of the videos, and part of like the Slack community of stuff I've been able to like get through, or I'll see a post and it gets in. Like even like your bootleg pack. Like I have a lot of those edits just from like the pools that I belong to. I've supported some of my latest mix on Fit Radio. I think has three of either you, maybe like one or two of yours, one of Angelo, like the crew. Like I've like I'm the first one to be like, yo, this stuff is dope. Let me like put it out there. Like,
Yeah, love
and
that, man.
literally when I saw you release that pack, I spoke to Jeff about it earlier. He's like, no, I picked up Cream's pack. I'm like, shit, I still talking about that, but I didn't even realize. I'm like, you know what? He's like, yeah, you know what? Like he put together this pack. It's 170 edits. It's like whatever, a couple bucks, whatever. He's like, I'm gonna support that dude because he's like putting it out there and he's like helping so many people with so much stuff. Like I literally am like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go buy that. Yeah, you could email me that pack, but I'm gonna just go buy that pack from him too because like I believe that's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like when you put yourself out there, when you help someone, like that's kind of like the byproduct of like doing the right thing. Like people want to
Yeah.
help you, they want to be involved, they want to like support your stuff, they want to check your stuff out. And honestly, like I would love to be able to do more stuff with you guys. And I share a handful of videos with you because I'm like, yo, if this is good for you and your crew, like I'm not trying to monetize your crew. I'm not pulling them into anything. Like if you can use this, like
Yeah, hell
take
yeah.
this for an idea for you guys, or share it with your people that could benefit from it. Like whatever's the best thing, like we're all in this together. And the more content we do, the more things that more people we touch, the more whatever, the only way it's going to get better.
I appreciate the edit pack thing. I really went back and forth with that, and I was like asking guys, and Gary and Angelo, I'm like, should I do this? Should I just give it away? Like, and Angelo was at my house, and he's like, bro, you giving away like a million things. Like, if you just do it, like you're not even asking for a lot, just do it. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do it, I guess. But it felt a little weird to me, but I did it anyway.
Yeah, but it's COVID. You're allowed to do this kind of stuff right now. It totally
Yeah.
works. It's all part of the game right now.
Yeah.
Everything's fair game.
All right, so we're getting close to our 1 hour. We try to keep everything around 1 hour. So one or two other questions. The thing we like to ask a lot of our guests: what is something that you would say to someone that's home that either wants to get into DJing or is early in their DJ career and wants to kind of go to the next level? What's some advice that you can give one of those DJs?
It's a piece of advice that I've been given when asked the same question to people when I did a minute with, or I've done interviews for DMS with like different people, artists, whatever. I think the biggest piece of advice that I stand by to this day, and I've heard it from people, and I've also given it to as many people that have ever asked me for anything, is the only way that you will succeed in the entertainment industry as a whole is by taking the time to sit in the chair and to do the work. You want to produce records, you got to do the work. You want to learn how to scratch, you got to do the work. You want to learn how to flip in and out of songs every 30 seconds, you got to stop what you're doing and put your time in the work. You can't download an app. You can't put on whatever. You could use whatever tools are available to you, but you still have to do the work because there's no cheat code in the DJ industry. There's no cheat code in the entertainment space. The only way to win, the only way to be successful, the only way to earn people's respect is to do the work. So if you're sitting home listening to this, you're on the fence, you're not really sure, you've plateaued, You need to like take action, switch up your surroundings, switch up the people that are in your space, switch up the music sources that you're getting your stuff from, and you need to like literally invest in yourself. So watch videos, read content, but get on the decks and do the work. Like, you know, I wouldn't be where I was if I didn't play like shitty bars where there was no one at that time. But I did it, and eventually like it grew to be like the spot. But it didn't happen because like I took the time off. Like it was there because I did the work. I didn't get to the Super Bowl event because like I slacked every time I did an event. Like I did the work. Like I didn't earn the opportunity to work with that thing or this person or have a company that has done things that I could have never ever dreamed of in places that I would never ever be able to attend or visit or access if we didn't invest the time and like and energy into like being the best we can and constantly looking to push the bar further. So you have to do the work.
I love that. I love it. I love it. It's so true though. You can only fake it so far. You have to actually learn the skill and do the work to get to where you want to go.
If
And
you think about it, right? Any DJ that like literally fakes it till you make it, you can fake it till you get to that first opportunity. But they're never going to call you back again. They're never going to call you again if you don't deliver on that first opportunity. Or if it's the third time you're there and you drop the ball, guess what? They may call you for that fourth time, but if you're not like insanely exceptional and like literally prove that that was like a one-off like bad situation or problem with your computer or something, that whatever, like you'll never get that call back. And I hate to say it, but it's like this is one of the only industries in the world where like you can't redo that. So like if you drop the ball, like people are gonna feel it right away, and it's gonna be embarrassing. And it's even more embarrassing when you're like posting about it, like boasting about something, and they're like, "Yeah, we're not gonna bring that dude back because it's just okay." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
you got to do the work. That's
Yeah,
it.
man. No, everyone sees like the production that goes out or sees the big DJ set and the pictures and all the great stuff on Instagram. And what people don't see is a DJ sitting in their room trying to practice something, a transition or a scratch or a chirp, or watching hours and hours and hours and hours of YouTube video to learn how to produce or even just make an edit. And I think that's where sometimes the DJ world gets a bad rap or gets a bad stereotype because people don't see what it really takes to be good at this. So
You know,
I love
it's
that.
so funny. People be like, "Oh, you don't need to know how to do that transformer scratch. You don't need to know how to do a two-click flare. You don't need to know how to beat mix for like whatever. You don't. You really don't need to know that. But like when you do have that skill, when you do have that, and you need to flex at that whatever opportunity is in front of you, and you could like dance on something, and people see it, and it's like, all right, like
Oh, okay.
that's cool. That's the difference with like that phone ringing, that second, that third, that fourth, that fifth time, or like that one call that never like happens again. You know, not that you have to like flex every time you play. It's not always that way, but like, you know what I mean? Like if you just are on cruise control, it's a different ride than if you're like literally ripping down the road and in and out of cars and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Man, this was a great conversation. We super appreciate it. Is there anything you want to promo, plug, whatever you want? The floor is yours. Go for it.
No, I mean, I don't really have anything that I didn't come on this to plug my stuff. If I'm going to plug anything at all, it would be the YouTube channel. So, I mean, you can go on and just search Jason Jani, and that's Jani, not Jani, not Yanni, not Janae. It's Jani. And if you go on and check out the content, if you're someone in the hustle of trying to like better yourself, your business, your performance, you're just looking for new content, I would be greatly honored if you would consider checking out some of the content that I'm going to pour my energy and my mind into over the next, you know, however much time I can do that. And that's it. And if you're into the picture thing, Instagram is really the only platform I use. I'm a little bit older, but that's like what I can only get down with. I can't mess with like TikTok and everything. That's like the black hole for me. I get in that, like forget it. But that, and you know, there's mixed content everywhere. Whether you look for myself or SCE, you can find us all over the interwebs everywhere. But I really appreciate the opportunity to kick it with you guys. Like for real, I'd love to do it again if time ever permits, or we could set it up. And if there's anyone that's listening to this that, you know, has a comment, has something to say, has a question, wants to learn more, you know, you're the my I would say my phone is always open, but let me just say my Instagram is always open for PM, and then I'll do my best to respond to everybody that I possibly can. You know,
Awesome, man.
But I appreciate you guys for real.
Yeah, we appreciate you too, man. I'm sure this is the start of a growing relationship between us. So I look forward to see what we come up with and what comes out of this. So
yes,
guys, if you guys like the Get Down DJ stuff, you're gonna like Jason's stuff. So we will link to all the YouTube and Instagram and all the stuff that he's doing in the show notes. And man, thank you guys for listening to this episode. My name is Kareem.
Gary W.
Huge thank you to Jason Jani. Peace
yeah,
out.
thank you.